G'day, welcome back to Game Chambers. I'm Chris, and today we're doing something a little bit different. So I'm at a comfortable point in Age of Sigmar Stormground that I'm happy to take a little bit of a break from the game so I can get my thoughts together and get a review done for it. Now I've got another bit of an idea for a series here. We're going to just see how it goes. So I've been watching a bit of the new Netflix Castlevania. Can't say I'm a big Castlevania fan, but I'm really been enjoying the Netflix show. I'm also a big Pathfinder nerd, so I played Pathfinder and D&D all the way back to 2nd edition Advanced Day D&D. Not quite old enough to have the red box. I don't have any grey hairs, as you can see, but I've been GMing pretty much every edition since 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, so I got a pretty good understanding of the system. Pathfinder in particular, jumped on board with the beta and have been playing it ever since. Now, Pathfinder Kingmaker is a fantastic game that does the Pathfinder system justice, and the main strength of the Pathfinder system is the fact that you can build whatever character in it that you like. Now, I've downloaded a few mods with my Pathfinder, so you can see here, the Call of the Wild, Craft Magic Items, Proper Flanking, and some Races Unleashed. This just expands upon our options a little bit. What the plan here is, we're going to create the 3 main protagonists from the Castlevania Netflix series, so Trevor Belmont, Sypha Belnades and Alucard, and we're going to see how far we can take them into the roguelike dungeon of Pathfinder Kingmaker. So, if you haven't watched the series, highly recommend you do. It is a really good series on Netflix. Let's just get straight into it. So, I'm going to create a new game. I'm going to do Beneath the Stolen Land. So this is the roguelike, the dungeon within the Kingmaker game. So we're going to try and make it as faithful to the tabletop as we possibly can. So we'll go with Last Atlantis mode. And we're going to customize these settings here. So we want normal critical hits, no death door. So if we want people die, they die. Don't rise after combat. Normal enemies that do full damage to us. Normal damage. Yep, go slower if we carry too much. Retraining is in the core rules. Don't have to worry about the kingdom management. Active companions receive experience. Skill check, Last Atlantis. Okay. Cool. So this is going to set it to be fairly faithful to the tabletop. Obviously, it's still a CRPG. It's still going to be different to true tabletop rules. Now, let's create a new character. We're going to start with... Now, I've already imported the portraits down the bottom here. So we're actually going to start off with Trevor Belmont. So he's the first character you meet in the TV show. So we're going to create him here. Okay, so Trevor, he's a human. That's easy. Now, he's pretty buff, but he's not bulky. He's got a fairly square jaw, so face 1's pretty good there. 3 was alright. Too scowly, too fat. Face 8? Yeah, face 8's not too bad. Yep, face 8 I think. We're going to go with that. He's pretty pale looking at his portrait at the top. He's not quite grey skin, so I think the default skin colour is going to be good. Hair, he's got a bit of a mop of a head, doesn't he? That's not that charming. Not like that. Definitely not long. So too long. Nope. Definitely not that. It's probably the best we can do with our hair options. Beard. Yeah, a bit of stubble. A bit too much. Alright, we'll go with a bit of stubble. And yeah, there we go. Is he left or right-handed? I'm not sure. So we'll have a bit of a quick read of his description. Does it tell us? I'm just going off the Castlevania fandom wiki here. So Trevor Belmont, often referred to as Belmont, is the main protagonist of the Netflix series Castlevania, monster hunter and last descendant of the Belmont family, who were wrongfully exiled and excommunicated. Does it tell us much about his appearance here? Species, so he's definitely a human male, we know that. Okay, he's a battle expert and a strategist. Voiced by Richard Armitage. It doesn't really help us out. Okay, so there's not really any comments on his physical appearance. We're just going to go simply by what we've seen in the Netflix show. So we'll settle with that. And he sort of uses both hands alternatingly, so we'll just leave him right-handed for now. All right, class. So this is a bit interesting. So Belmont is probably going to be the more complicated of the 3 to come up with a class. So let's have a read of his powers and abilities. So he's got immense combat prowess. So he's spoken about having reflexes like a cat. He wins a bar brawl while drunk against other fighters. He goes toe-to-toe with vampire generals and soldiers in martial arts. So he's definitely a really good martial artist. So we might be leaning towards monk or brawler, at least a few levels of that. He also fights really well with the short sword and with the whip and with the Morning Star, which is basically a metallic whip. So I think you'd use a spiked chain, but I don't believe we have those in Pathfinder Kingmaker, and I couldn't find a mod that would allow us to have it. So we'll see where we go from that. So he's good at martial arts, good with those weapons. Peak human endurance and pain tolerance leads us towards a high hit die class. Weapon mastery. So he's a master with the whip and the short sword. He can hold his own in a sword duel with Alucard, who is a master swordsman. And he can hurl spears and axes with deadly accuracy. So there's probably definitely some sort of a combat class in there. Supernatural expertise. So he's well versed in monsters and the supernatural. So this starts leaning me towards maybe Slayer. He's definitely got this, or even Ranger. Definitely doesn't have any magic or animal companions though, so we sort of head back towards that Slayer. Yeah, and he knows about different applying soul to weapons, consecrating weapons, and all that sort of thing. So he's got educated and knowledgeable in mob mentality. Not sure how this one weighs into a Pathfinder character. Skeptical of fantastical belief. So he's got probably a bit of iron will, so we could slot that in with there, and some natural military expertise. So he's a brave commander and a marvelous tactician. So we're looking at, what do we have? He's definitely going to be multi-class. I don't think there's any one class that fills the requirements for Belmont here. What do we have available to us? Yeah, Inquisitors, Monster Tactician. No, that's ones that summon things. The Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter Inquisitor. And what do we get here? Still gets a deity, still gets judgments. He's not really an Inquisitor, he's not really a religious guy. He's kind of against the church. What monk options do we have? So a bit of Sensei maybe? Sensei does a little bit of inspiration. I just don't really feel that inspirational. What were our fighter options? So Drill Sergeant, training other combatants. He does lead a few fights, but I don't know if he really trains other combatants. So it gives him a teamwork feat that he can share, so it's not too silly. Gets weapon training. Still gets all the bonus feats. So what does this replace? Be bravery. Not seeing a bravery option here, so I'm guessing that tactician is replacing bravery. Yeah, it's okay. So fighter, maybe. A law warden? Quick wits and deceptive techniques often succeed where brute force may not. So that could be alright. Scholastic. One additional skill rank, but he just gives up medium, heavy armor, and shields. We never actually see him wear heavy armor, but giving that up without something to replace it may not be such a good idea. Is this Sword Secret? This is different to the Law Warden I'm familiar with. Okay. This will be an option. What ranger options do we have? No, these are all bounty hunters, supernatural. I think we're leaning back towards the Slayer. And maybe the Spawn Slayer or the Grave Warden. So the Grave Warden, Holy Water. Well, here we go. This is leaning into his knowledge of demonic and undead and that sort of thing. So we can use Holy Water, he can do a Death Ward. I'm thinking we're going to go the Grave Warden Slayer. Now, his primary colours, going to go black. Let me have a look at his artwork. I think we go black and red. Black and red. That's what we're going to do anyway. Dark red, yep. Okay, so we'll start with that. You get Ranger talents, Slayer talents as well. Quarry, Sneak Attack, Study Target. Okay, yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. We can lean into this. Now, skill points, they go up? They do go up. Only for every 2, yeah, okay. So we want to get an extra skill point. Alright, so strength, dex, and con are going to be the main things we need here. Now we do get a human bonus. We're going to slap that onto strength. Can we get them all to 16? Not quite. You can get to intelligence 13. That unlocks a few feats. So that unlocks our combat expertise tree. Don't know if we want to go that way at this point. We could put that in to wisdom. See, wherever we put this, it's not going to make much use unless we dump our level up points into it. And we want most of our stats up here because Belmont's going to be a fighter. We'll leave that in dex because dex is our armor class. And at level 4, we'll throw it in our con, and that'll give us 16 con, which will boost our hit points by, at that point, 4 for level 4. So that'll be alright. Now, for skills, he's pretty athletic. A good knowledge of the world. We'll go with nature, actually. And you need perception. We're only going to get 3 skills, so we'll have to make up deficiencies with the rest of the team. But Belmont does seem quite perceptive in the show. He's got a lot of knowledge about monsters, which will fall into, well, it falls into all these 4. Each one has a different category of monsters for it. And athletics. He just shows himself to be extremely athletic, swinging around on that whip and fighting against other powerful vampires. So we'll go with that. Now, as a primary martial character whose job is going to be fighting on the front line, we want power attack. And let's just see if Spiked Chain is in here. I don't think it is. Oh, I got excited. I saw Spiked. And it was just Spiked Heavy Shield Bash. So the Spiked Chain would have been the ideal weapon for him to use. I guess we can make... There's no whip in there either, is there? No. So we can have the short sword, and we can have the flail. And we can build him to have reach on the flail. I think that might be the way to go. So we don't want you... I'll just select any weapon for now. So we do want power attack. It's kind of an essential feat, part of the system, and we need to have it. So if we have power attack, what's the feat chain? Let's have a look at all the feats. So we want to get lunge. Does lunge exist in this? This will give us reach. So there's no lunge. I wonder if there's any ability to gain reach then, unless it's actually available to us already. No, so lunge isn't a thing. Does this have an additional way to gain reach, I wonder? I don't actually know. So it's not completely faithful. So if we're doing this on tabletop, we would go a spike chain. We probably wouldn't have to go lunge because you're already going to have that reach, but you could still consider it. You'd probably go with a lot of the utility type things with the whip as well, but we don't have those available. So I'm just having a quick scroll to see what we do have available. One of these styles might actually give us reach. I don't know enough about them though. Perfect strike. Okay. So you'll see there's quite a lot more here that's not in your normal game because I am running the mod to gain extra feats as well. So we could just go straight forward. So a good trip. So combat expertise will get us there. Do we want a trip? So trip becomes less and less useful as you go up, and you've really got to heavily focus on it. I'm not a big fan of it in a build that's going to be more flexible. So a good one to go for here is Furious Focus. So at level 1, not a big deal, but it does remove the penalty from the power attack, which as you go up in levels becomes more and more of a bonus to hit. For now though, we could go Cleave. Cleave's not too bad for fighting. Blind Fight's always a good one to pick up later on. And Weapon Focus would be another good one to pick up, because then if you're a fighter in particular, you could go into weapon specialization, but we're not going that way either. But Reflex is also handy. If we could go Proved Unarmed Strike or Iron Will. We do want to get Iron Will at some point. If we get it early, it shores up our weakness to will save, so let's grab it. It suits the character and will help the build later on. Now, none of these are obviously going to be perfect.
I'll take care of it. This is my path. A solid plan. Let's hear you.
Don't think any of these are really going to sound like Belmont. But that'll do. Pretty sure he's neutral good. So let's go Trevor Belmont.
We cannot be defeated.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like him, but doesn't look like him yet either. We'll see how close we can get him to look like Belmont as we go through and get new gear. So this is going to take us into... we go Beneath the Stolen Lands. We don't care about the tutorial. Alright. So first thing we need to do is get the rest of our party built. So we talk to the dragon here. We have enough gold to create 3 extra heroes. We're only going to go with 2. So next one on the list is going to be Sypha Belnades. So if we have a quick read about her. Where are you, Sypha? So, Sypha Belnades, sorry, I'm getting that wrong. Was one of the main protagonists in the Netflix original series Castlevania. She's the granddaughter of the Elder of the Speakers, a group of nomad scholars, and a sorceress with control over the elements. Okay, so it makes it sound like she's going to be pretty easy to build. So she's female with elemental control. Okay, her powers and abilities. So as a speaker, she's highly educated and knows the full history of Wallachia. Wallachia being the kingdom. She's a speaker magician. So, what does it tell us about this? So she can cast pyrokinesis, cryokinesis, aerokinesis, and electrokinesis. Interesting. So she's got control of 4 different elements: air, fire, water, and electricity. She's got knowledge of languages, which including the occult language Enochian as well as Adamic. She recognizes High Remembrance and Chaldaic in the Belmont's library's books, and she can use it to summon powerful spells or lift magical seals. Okay. Well, she's definitely human, and she's definitely female. She's also quite slim, so we'll go with that to start with. Yeah, her face is also quite slim. Let's see what we can get here. That one's not too bad. Too smiley, too grumpy. No, too wide, too tall. That's also not too bad. Oh, that's the same one that we said not before. Okay, we're going to go with that one. Hairstyle, it's a bit too much hair. It's not enough hair. Too much hair. Too out there. It's the same hairstyle we've got Belmont in. Definitely not. Nope. Okay, so between hairstyle 1 and hairstyle 5, I think 5 is going to win it, and she's obviously a redhead. We've got a lighter red. Yep, there we go. Lighter orange. Okay, there we go. Now, class. Now, you go a couple of ways with Sypha. She doesn't have a spell book, so I wouldn't go towards Wizard. You could go Sorcerer. And you could go Is there an Elemental Sorcerer? We've got a Primal Sorcerer. Primal Sorcerer. Where do you get? Primal Bloodline, but you have to pick your bloodline, so she's going to be bound to one particular element, really. You could go cross-blooded, which will give you 2 bloodlines, and you could have 2 elements there. Sage is an intelligence-based caster. Looks more arcane though, so she gets magic missile. Oh yeah, and flight. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at a different class then. So I don't think Sorcerer is actually going to work for us. Got Arcanist. What do we got here? Spell Specialist. No. School 7. No. Blood Magic. Unlettered. Uses Familiars. Cultist. No. Okay, I don't think anything there is going to work. Kineticist is an interesting option. What do we have in here? Overwhelming Soul. Mind over Matter. Charisma. No, we'd go straight up Kineticist if we're going to do that. Any other option? Oh, what about the Wizard? Is there an option for... So they're bombs. No. Arcane Exploiter Wizard. No, so you get exploits there. What about a Havoker? Or is it the Invoker? No, Havoker. This is the one that gets raw destructive elemental power as a witch. Okay. We're onto something here. So you get Kinetic Blast. Level 1, so it's standard Kinetic Blast. Now, I guess the only question is, so you get a specific element at level 1. So you get Elemental Focus and Kinetic Blast there. Do you get more elements for your blast? So let's have a look at the Kineticist and see what options. When do they get their additional elements? It's not the Infusion. Expanded element. Okay. Expanded element. Composite specialization. So we can't end up with every element. Or can we? No. For combat, I think Kineticist is probably our best option. The Havoker Witch is a pretty neat option. Use your witch powers to power your kinetic blast, but I think you're bound to a specific kinetic blast throughout your entire career. And that's just not going to work for us, but we do get the spells. The spells, I guess she doesn't really use spells as such in the TV show. I think what she does is mostly stuff the Kineticist can do. So we're going to make her a Kineticist. She pretty much only wears blue. Okay. So we need to have a high dex and a high con. And I wanted to have a good intelligence because that's what she's supposed to be good at. Use magic device, knowledge arcana. I really want to give her that knowledge arcana, but we don't have it as a class skill, so it's not really helping us out here. We need mobility at least to get her out of trouble. We still got 5 ability points left. She's fairly charismatic too, so quite wise. Let's spread them out a bit. Got 1 leftover point. So your carrying capacity is based on your strength score, so we're going to throw it in there. Or at least it is in the tabletop. Hopefully it is in here. Okay. Alright, that'll do. Let's have a look If I click next, yep. Okay, so can we get additional? We got invocation. For each element which you have access, treat all spells as utility wild talents. Okay, that could be handy. But we don't have access to any of those levels yet, so that might be one to pick up later, get us a bit more utility. What else have we got? Scales and skin? No. What else do we have in here? Elemental focus. I don't believe it works on our shots. Rapid shot doesn't work on what we're doing. We'll bring up a few more. It's hard to see chains of feats, so it doesn't really help me giving me a big list like this. Unless I was going to spend hours and read through every single ability, which I don't think I'm going to do. So we're going to go with the basics. Point blank shot. Oh. What have I done? And precise shot. So that way I get a bonus to hit and damage if things are close. And she can ignore the cover bonus from shooting into melee. So normally shooting at an enemy that's in melee with a friend is a -4 to hit, which is pretty harsh. Now, elemental focus. So we want her eventually to have air, fire, and water, all above. But I don't know which one we should go with to start. So what does air give us? Is it going to tell us what our ability is? No. Air, there we go. Air blast. Bludgeoning. Or we can get electric blast. Okay, so electric's under air. So fire we don't get a choice, but we can take burning and an AoE. Now, what does she use first? What's the first power we get to see her use? Is it ice or is it fire? I think it might be fire. Happy to be corrected. A 15-foot cone or additional burning damage. Additional burning damage is useful in a lot of situations, but 15-foot cone could be good too. Is that what's that? Dazzle. No, I'm not too worried about a dazzle. Or an extended range or burning your flames. So we're going to choose between fan of flames and burning infusion. Let's go with... Both can use blue flame and fire. Burning infusion is more useful. So you got to penetrate spell resistance and catches a foe on fire and then take d6 damage per round. Yeah, we're going to go with the burning infusion. Okay, what voice we got? No. 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 Yeah, maybe. That's probably the closest. I spelled that right? Have I been pronouncing that right? Let's have a look. Sypha Belnades. Yep, looks right. Okay. Cool. There we go. There is Sypha. Bring her in along with Trevor Belmont. Alright, well we have one more to go. And this is going to be Alucard. Now, he is going to be... Obviously, he's a half vampire, so the closest we can get to that is a Dhampir. Now, he's pretty slim. Very long face. We've got a very long face here. It's a very angry face. 5's fairly long. 2's a bit square. We're going to go 5 then. Hairstyle. Got beautiful locks. Maybe. Look from the front. Probably that one. No beard. This hairstyle? Yeah, that colour. Now, what hand does he use? I think he might actually be a lefty. Should have paid more attention to the artwork. We're going to make him a lefty just for a bit of variety. Now, I think... let's have a read of Alucard. So, Adrian Tepesh, also known as Alucard, is one of the main protagonists in Castlevania. He's the son of Vlad Dracula Tepesh and the late Lisa Tepesh. Species, it even says he's a Dampier actually on the wiki, so that's interesting. So, I think it must be what they call the half vampire. What else does it say? It says immortal, uses the sword, he can teleport, has superhuman agility and strength. Okay. Powers. Human vampire hybrid physiology, superhuman strength, speed, high endurance, and rapid regeneration. Also can levitate, shapeshift, has magic, master hand-to-hand combatant, master swordsman, can command his magic sword, genius level intellect, knowledge of lost languages, and knowledge of monsters. Oof. So... I think we've only really got one option. I think you combine magic and you combine swordplay, you have to be a magus. Now, so not instinctive because I believe this switches you to charisma. It gives you a bloodline. Does it switch you to charisma? I'll just skip through it. I can't skip through it. There's Eldritch Scions. Spells and magic come to them instinctively. Yep, okay. You get a bloodline, which is probably not too bad. We might be able to go an undead or a vampire bloodline there. But I'm just not sure if it switches your caster type. Well, why don't we just go through? We can always come back. So we want to go just straight up Dampier. And for the bloodline, is there an undead bloodline? Undead bloodline. Okay. And we can be a Dayborn because we're a Dampier, which fits perfectly. Okay, so what does this shift us to charisma though? It does. See, I don't really want to shift us to charisma because of his supposed genius level intellect. It does give us a boost to our charisma though. We can probably still get a 14 in intelligence. Can we actually get it playable? I don't like doing that because that's our primary casting stat. What is the what is this doing for us, the Undead Bloodline? It's giving us some bonus feats. Grave Touch. We can make people shaken. You can treat undeads as humanoids for the purpose of determining which spells affect them. That could be really good because then you can charm undead, you can put them to sleep. It's actually quite a powerful ability. Cause fear. So he casts as a sorcerer, which is okay. Wow, that's really good. Cold damage. Resist cold 5 is okay. DR5 magic is good. DR10 magic is awesome as long as you're not getting hit by magic. Thirdly, we get false life. That's an additional spell. Grasp of the Dead. Is this a spell? It's just a ability. Incorporeal form. Damage reduction 5. Well, we're not going to get to level 20, so it does just give him a whole bunch of undead type spells, which is quite nice. Now, Sword Saint could be interesting too, so that'll just boost our... Because he is supposed to be a Master Swordsman, and he does get a lot of really good sword abilities. Mindblade gives us a magic sword, or just straight up normal Magus. So we will give up some magic potential to be a Sword Saint. But I think we're going to go Sword Saint. What's Canny Defense? That's intelligence bonus. Yeah, okay. We're going Sword Saint. That way we can dump our charisma back down, get our intelligence back up. Get our charisma. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Now, we've got to Knowledge Arcana, because we haven't got that anywhere yet. Have we got Knowledge World? I don't know, but we're going to get it again anyway. Yeah, Persuasion and use Magic Device. I think... Well, we didn't end up with Trickery anywhere, did we? It's going to be an issue mechanically to get through the dungeon without someone that can do that. We've already got Athletics, so it takes it off your highest. We're going to go with the Trickery, even though it's still fairly low. We might be able to shore it up later on somehow. I don't know how we will do that. Okay, so Arcane Strike is always a good one to start with. Oops. Let's have a bit more of a look at our options first. New character threatening your opponent, you gain a +1 dodge bonus. Okay. Yeah, dodge might be a handy thing to grab. Combat casting is always good on the Magus because you often are casting in combat. What did I have selected so far? Arcane Strike. Yeah, because it's just straight up +1 to hit and damage. It helps make up for our lower base attack bonus. So we'll keep with that for now. My chosen weapon. Elven Curve Blade would be nice, but we wouldn't have proficiency in it. So we're just going to go simple and go the longsword. We know we'll find a longsword somewhere in the dungeon. Well, we hope. Okay, so this is where we're going to make up his spells. So, he's got a lot of spells. He can control his sword. Let's go with Warding Weapon then, because that makes sense. It's Blade Lash. So you can trip a creature with your sword. Yeah, let's go with that. Now we need a touch spell. We need to be able to apply touch damage. So negative energy damage is a bit restrictive. Acid damage is pretty good. Frostbite plus fatigue. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Magic weapon. So we're probably only going to be able to prepare one of these anyway. Vanish? Sure. And Obscuring Mist, that makes sense for him as well. Probably should get Expeditious Retreat actually. I'm going to get rid of Blade Lash. Okay. That will do for now. Okay. I'll call him Alucard. We'll make him neutral good too. Now. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Let us bide our time. Our time. Adventures await. This will hurt. I sense some march on. The path is clear.
Probably the closest.
Enemy near.
Yeah, that'll do.
My skills exceed yours.
Well, apparently his skills exceed ours. Okay, and there we go. That will be our Alucard. So we have our party of adventurers. We have Trevor Belmont, Sypha Belnades, and Alucard, or Adrian Tepesh. Now, next episode we will configure their gear, and then we'll go into the dungeon and see how we go. So this is the hub area. You can rest here, which we would do after we modified our spell. So we don't want Vanish. Probably the first spell we want to have available to us. That's Enhancement bonus. What was the bonus on this? Enhancement bonus. So Magic Weapon was a terrible spell to pick because we already have that. Securing Mist and flavorful, but not really that great. So Frostbite will be our primary damage spell. So we'll prepare that. No one else has any spells. We'll go through and clean these bars up a little bit later, just so we can access our skills. But the game's going to be played turn-based, so we have full option to all the abilities through these little drop-down menus. This is our stash where we can keep stuff. I believe you can keep it from run to run as well. So we'll see how we go from there. This is our shopkeeper, and the actual dungeon itself that we will be applying the depths of is up here. So we'll quickly just adjust our formation. Trevor and Alucard out the front and Sypha behind them. Okay, there we go. So join us in the next episode where we are actually going to start delving into the depths with the protagonists from Netflix's Castlevania, and we'll see how far we get with them. Now, if they die, that's it. Game over. We're going to play this as a last Atlanti mode. If any of them die, if we can't resurrect them, that's it. They're out of it. The rest will try and continue on without them. If they all die, that'll be the end of this run, and we may do another run with some different characters, or we might play another game. So either way, thanks for watching this far. If you enjoyed the content, give me a like down the bottom. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next video.